What's up? What's up to all of my surfers out there, man? How everybody doing today? We are live with another episode of Midday Madness in the Mix, man. I'm your host with the most, always from the East Coast, man. Often replicated, but never duplicated, man. Big waves in the building. What's up with everybody, man? And we have a special guest joining the Midday Madness channel today, man. Y'all know who he is, man. Legendary Panther content creator, man. Always bringing the facts, always bringing the energy, man. Always bringing you the knowledge of the Carolina Panthers, all the way from unnecessary bluntness, man. We got Aaron in the building. Aaron, what's good with it?
What up, though? What's going on, man? Appreciate you having your boy on the Midday Madness. You know what I'm saying? I like that. I like that. Not so many people going live this time of day, so I appreciate it, man. I got my coffee still warm right now. Got my Gatorade bottle of water, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to chop it up, man. Let's go.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, look, man. Thank you for joining the channel today, man. We go get into it, and yeah, man. The midday, man. I like this is kind of my baby, man. It's that time of the day where people might be at work, man. People may be doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and they stopping out on their breaks and lunch to come in and talk Panther football, man. So why not do it, man? Outside of the midday, man. Shout out to everybody, man, in the channel, man. We go pull up the normal crew here as well. But shout out to B Amos, Agent 704. We got a packed show for y'all today. But first, I got to get into it, man. Listen, so today is going to be a special live. We also will have another special live tomorrow, going crazy with Phil from Panther Post. Will be joining on the channel for another special episode of Midday Madness. We be dropping the link to the Discord tomorrow as well. So only exclusively in the community section of my channel will we be dropping the Discord in there tomorrow. So make sure that y'all pull up. It's going to be crazy, man. I will be dropping that tomorrow. So stay tuned, guys. The Discord link will be dropping out there tomorrow as well. And again, also, guys, also don't forget, we will be dropping the gaming content soon. Be on the lookout for that, man. Got a lot of exciting stuff that's going to be coming with the gaming content on the channel as well. So Life is Just a Wave podcast, man, is about to take off, man. We about to go to another level, man. But time to get into it today. Listen, man, I've been waiting on this collab all week long, man, because my man Aaron, man, I've been following this dude for a minute, man, and he got some special takes. So we're gonna talk about one main topic, man, for today. That it was a topic we talked a lot about it on the last show, but I really want to talk about it, man, today. Let's go ahead and get into it, man. So last week, Aaron, and I got to get your thoughts on this, man. Frank Wright came out and said for the second time, right? Now, I don't know how much of a fan I am of this, but going into OTAs and then going into to this phase of the offseason, he has Bryce Young named the number 2 quarterback, right? And Andy Dalton, he said that Andy Dalton will get the majority of the first team reps, but Andy Dalton will be working. I'm sorry, Bryce Young will be working with the twos. Man, I want to get your thoughts on that, man. And what do you think the team's thinking on this? And how do you honestly feel about this, man, whole thing? Because I'm not a fan of it, man, but I got to hear what you got to say.
I mean, to me, I'm not really overthinking it. One, because it's May, so we're at t-shirts, helmets, draws, socks, all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Everybody just getting acquainted with each other. The team, everybody as a whole, is just now getting together. Bryce Young. I know everybody wants to talk about him being in the pro system with Bill O'Brien and he can process all this and that, but there's still a lot of pressure that comes with being the number 1 overall pick. And, like putting it on that 5'10", 195, 205-pound shoulders can be a lot. You know what I'm saying? It might be a lot. So I understand them wanting to, for lack of better words, spoon feed him. You know what I'm saying? As the way. Don't want to just throw everything on his lap and just be like, all right, be fruitful and multiply, whatever, spread your royal oats, whatever you want to call it. They want to ease him into it. And that's why you bring in a guy like Dalton. Because Dalton has been here and been in the offseason program for a month. I think they've been meeting for a while, even since before the draft. So he has a leg up there. And they brought him in specifically to be that type of guy that can help usher in this stuff for Bryce. But I just think that they're going to just ease him on down. And by training camp, I wouldn't be surprised at the start of training camp, Bryce is number 1. But if not, by after the first preseason game, I expect him to be that guy in place, because you don't give up all the stuff you gave up to have question marks about if the guy's going to be your day 1 starter. You know what I'm saying? It'd be one thing if we were going against the I don't even know what's the name of the elite defense, the 49ers in week 1, but we're
Yeah.
going against the Falcons. They spend a lot of money, and I expect them to be better. But this is not some world beaters that we're facing defensively in week 1 that you have to like have some hesitation about putting Bryce in at. So I expect him to be in there eventually, and I think it'll be fine. I'm not gonna overthink it until we get probably to like deep in training camp when I'm like, all right, what's going on? Because they've already said that he'll get some reps with the ones, but mostly with the twos. That way he gets an abundance of reps, not just the limited reps that the twos get, because the twos don't get as many reps. This is the evaluation period, but
Yeah.
I still think that him doing double time, I forgot who mentioned it. Might have been Frank that mentioned it the other day, that he'll get a little bit
Yeah.
of reps with the ones, but also with the twos, which is something that we didn't really see with the I don't even want to say his name, the prior coach.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
we
Yeah.
didn't
Matt
see we
Rule.
didn't see that distribution. Yeah, we didn't see that distribution of reps. So I have faith in this coaching staff. You know what I'm saying? I think they have a plan in place that no matter who the quarterback would have been, they probably would have took the same approach.
Yeah, and listen, I'm a firm believer on that, man. But I'm gonna press just a little bit on that, man, because listen, in a way, it's I get not wanting to add a ton of pressure on Bryce Young, man, especially kicking things off. Obviously with being the number one, I get that part of it too, man. But I also feel, man, like pressure kind of builds diamonds, right? Like that Bryce Young is the guy heading into the regular season. We know that he's going to be the starter. To your point, we gave up a ton to get this guy in here, man, and I think that it's valuable right now because you got to remember something. Everybody's learning a new offense, right? It's not just Bryce Young. It's not just everybody is learning. This Thomas Dave Brown has a whole new offensive philosophy, like he talked about yesterday. I don't know if you guys caught his press conference, but he talked about it yesterday. He talked about uh, there's going to be some 12-man personnel, 13-man personnel. So there's going to be 11 man personnel. There's going to be a lot of different things that this offense is going to be doing. And I think that it's critical, like you said, while they are in shells and t-shirts and shorts, man, for him to get valuable reps, man, with the ones and getting that chemistry down. Um, and again, man, this gives him the opportunity as well, man, to earn that respect of that locker room, right? Like that's something that I'm not worried about Bryce Young if he's going to be the starter heading into training camp or into the regular season. I'm just talking about early in the process right now. Like you said, it is May, but listen, OTAs will be starting up next week. Training camp will be here before you know it. Every rep right now, man, counts, especially with the rookie quarterback and a new offense learning, basically a whole new regime that we're going to be entering into. And I think that it's important, man, for him to just, hey, look, I'm gonna come out and say it. Bryce Young is our guy. We knew that we drafted him to be our guy. Andy Dalton was here to be in a mentor role and to be there to support Bryce Young. But at the same time, he's our starter. He's obviously there's going to be some growing areas. He's going to have to learn a couple of things. But for the most part, he is our guy. I think that it actually creates more pressure on him by saying that, hey, you're with the twos, because now it's a mindset like, well, okay, so I guess I got to come in here and earn it. That's just my take on it, man.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the earning it though. I mean, because at this point, it's a new coaching staff, it's a new regime. We do it. We did have a lot of roster turnover, but a lot of these people are people that are still from the Matt Rule era, and
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
they can't really gut the roster right away because we were still competitive last year. So it would be kind of idiotic to just completely erase everything and start from scratch. The fact that the NFC South is still up for grabs, the fact that we saw what even a marginal upgrade of coaching can do with the people that we had on this team, I think that for them to completely gut everything would have been ill advised. So just leaving that in mind, I think it's open for everybody, because you heard what Avero said yesterday. It's really Brian Burns and everything else. I don't care if YGN was a second round pick. I don't care if Marquise Haynes has been here since Ron Rivera was here. It don't matter that we traded up for DJ Johnson. Everybody opposite of Brian Burns, who everybody knows the bona fide. There's no
Yeah.
point of lying about Brian Burns. But after that, it's up for grabs. I mean, it's keep what you kill around here at this point, and I like that because it's going to bring the best competition out of everybody. Bryce, I'm not saying he's been gifted everything, but he's always been that main guy from day one, wherever he was.
Right.
He rode behind Mac Jones a little bit, and we saw what that did for him when he got his opportunities. You saw the flashes and stuff. So I don't think it's anything that he can't handle because Mac Jones, he had a legendary Alabama year. I mean, obviously Bryce came in and broke all his records too, but he's been in that number 2 spot before, and he talked about how big Mac Jones was for him. Believe it or not, I'm not a Mac Jones fan, but to hear
Yeah,
how
I'm
much
not an
big ups
Alabama
he's
fan at
given,
all. You see what's back
yeah,
there.
yeah. I mean, I see the band, I see the banners and the pennants hanging up. But I mean, he
Yeah,
talked about how big Mac was and how he handled that position. So I don't think there's anything that Bryce can't handle from a mental aspect. My only literally
yeah,
doubt for Bryce is the physical portion. And I mean, it's nothing really to cry over at this point now because there's no games being played and it kind of is
yeah,
what it is.
got
We
you.
just gotta be we on the ride. But I have no doubt about what he can handle mentally, his ability to play football, stuff like that. You talked about putting the system in there, and I agree. I do want him to get reps, but I still think it's a matter of them actually finding out what we have overall. It's not just finding out what we have in him because
Yeah,
everybody, I mean, Wright mentioned it a little bit, and I think a lot of people just missed it. It doesn't really mean anything. Everybody feels good about their team until you start playing. And this team we have now, we're banking on upside. DJ Chark is 1,000-yard wide receiver when he plays all the
healthy.
games.
Yep,
He hasn't really done that this year.
yep.
Adam Thielen is a quality veteran, but he's getting up there in age. Doesn't separate as good, but he can be a good number 2 receiver. But he has to be able to show that he can do it outside of what he's done before in Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? Mingo, he's a rookie. We're still gambling on upside. TMJ, we've seen the flashes, but have we seen him be that main guy? So we're banking on upside. Miles Sanders, he's been a productive running back, but what happens when you don't have the best offensive line and a running quarterback to kind of hold the defense on the backside? So we have a lot of upside that we're banking on in general. So I don't think it's just Bryce Young that has to get established. I think it's everybody as a whole. So I think everybody's finding their legs, and they're just not going to gift it to anybody because they're still trying to find out what we have overall, man. So I think it's just a fluid process still right now. I'm not worried about Bryce overall. I still think that him working with the twos could be a good thing because him and Mingo can build that chemistry that I think
Hey, there you
they're already
go.
been working.
There you
They're working
go.
on and
Yeah,
stuff. So, I mean, I'm actually excited to kind of see what they happen. Like I said, it's better than what we had with Rule because Corral did not see any reps at all with the ones or the twos. And like, not saying that I didn't think he was ready personally, just what I saw at training camp. But you still want to at least dip a toe in there, let him see what he got and see how far away he is from being ready to compete with the ones. But I like what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Spoon feeding him, like kind of taking it as he goes. And they've talked about his process. And so if he's the guy that we think he is, he'll show in no time that he'll be that guy. And like I said, I still think that the offense is still being formed because we have to figure out, like you said, the 11, the 12,
who? Yeah,
13
who? Yeah,
personnel.
got you.
Thomas Brown said that it's weird because like in LA with the Rams, they ran nothing but 11. Like they didn't run a
Yep,
lot of the stuff that Frank Wright does. But we've seen Frank Wright have a Jonathan Taylor, have a heavy offensive line, multiple tight ends, running a lot of this type of stuff. So it's a marriage of different concepts. And I still think they're trying to figure out what best works for Bryce, this offense, and whoever may be running whatever position. So I still think it's all fluid. So I'm not really over concerned about that part, but I still think they're implementing a lot of stuff right now because you heard them mention this will be the third time they're doing install. They did install with all the players before the draft. They did install with the rookies at rookie camp, and they're going to be
yep.
doing it one more time with everybody. So I still think everybody's kind of still kind of getting their feet underneath them as a whole. And I think Bryce will be able to grow. And I think I have faith. I have faith in the dude, man. But so
Yeah,
I'm not. I understand you. I understand your point though about wanting to get reps because
yeah.
I'm the same way. But I think with everything being so fluid, he'll get a good chance to mix in with everybody to the point that I think he'll be fine overall.
Yeah, I agree, man. And those were hell of a points, man. Hell of a points that he made there. But I want to go back to one thing. Big Bro Wally, I see y'all backstage. We're gonna pull y'all up here in just a minute. Um, but one point that I want to go back to you, man, is about the wide receiving core that you touched on, right? Because I have been saying that even with since these guys were added to the team, there is no clear cut number one right now. There's a lot of question marks in that wide receiving core. So yes, do I think collectively we'll get a lot of good production from these guys. But when I'm thinking about it, Terrace Marshall Jr. showed flashes last year, right? Like he showed flashes of what kind of wide receiver that we can be. We know he made a lot of spectacular catches, the one between the legs that everybody always talks about. And obviously, I followed Terrace Marshall Jr. in college, being a fan of LSU. So I know what he can do, and he was playing behind Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. But I really want to see Terrace Marshall Jr. man this season really step up, and I think he's going to be given every opportunity to take on that number one role for this football team. Right? I think
Yep.
this is the time from him to go up and snatch that man, and be our number one wide receiver. Because if you ask me, I think Mingo has the potential to take that and be that as well. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for him to get to where he needs to be. But Terrace Marshall Jr. right now is the person that I'm looking at like, okay, you've been here for 3 years now. It's time to see what, put up or shut up. Because a lot of guys that's on the roster, and we're going to talk about that a little bit here today as well. To me, this is a prove it year for a bunch of guys. Like you said, these are former regime guys. These are not the guys that this regime has selected. And we're going to see, man. And I hate to say it, injuries, listen, it may cost some of these guys to not be in the plans of the future going forward, right? So
Yeah.
if if Terrace Marshall Jr. can't step up into that role, like you said, DJ Shark. Matter of fact, I think didn't he have an off-season ankle procedure or something like that this off-season?
I would have to look into it because I wasn't even really paying much attention to him until we
Yeah,
we scooped him up. I know people were wanting to get him, but I just didn't
yeah,
think because of the injuries, I wasn't even really in the back of my mind of bringing him in, to be
right.
honest. But I'm sure.
He
Oh
has to
yeah, I think
show.
you are right. I think he
Yeah,
did have a procedure earlier,
a
a
cleanup
couple months ago.
procedure. I think he had a cleanup
Yeah.
procedure this all season, man. So again, is he going to? He hasn't played a full season since he's been in the NFL. So we don't even know if he's going to give us that. I would probably lean more so to not than he will give us a full season. Adam
Yep.
Thielen, listen, Adam Thielen, still 32 years old, great route runner, did have 700 yards last year. I think he's going to be a possession type wide receiver, especially a red zone threat here in Carolina. I'm not expecting wide receiver one production out of Adam Thielen. I don't even know if I'm expecting wide receiver two production out of Adam Thielen. Um, but and again, he still has a lot to prove. Do I think he has something left? Yeah, but it's not a lot. It's really not a lot. I think he has
Yeah.
something left, but it's not a ton. And then, like you said with Mingo, I think it's important that him and Bryce grow together. Anytime you got a rookie quarterback and a rookie wide receiver that can grow together, that is special. So I'm hoping that, man, their chemistry and the stuff will be able to go there. Um, so you made a lot of good points, man. When it comes to this, I think that this time more than any time in the off season is how you get this offense together. This is how you are working out like what do you have in everybody, right? As a coach and as as a granted, I'm not coaching at the NFL or collegiate levels or anything like that, but the spring is really for seeing what you have, right? What is it going to look like when we line up this guy, and this guy in this set? Who's going to be the guy to take on, some of this, but it's also about timing. And that's what I'm worried about with Bryce right now is getting the timing down with these guys. Like, yeah, Mingo is probably going to be the only number two wide receiver that he's throwing into. Probably Shy Smith. You know, I don't even know if Chenault might be a two listed here. I think he might be a prime. I don't know if we gonna. Do you think we gonna keep Chenault around, man? I want to get that from you, man. Do you think Chenault is somebody gonna stay around?
I think so, but he's on the bubble. I think there's some creative things that Thomas Brown can do with him just because of the type of system that you got to think of McVay, the creativity that the type of dudes that he has. They need that guy that can block, that can run the jet motion, that can go in short motion, that can line up at the wing. That what I'm saying. That's the type of stuff that McVay really system is built on. Those type of receivers that are willing to block. I mean, because Cooper Cup, if you watch him, he from the slot, he gets in there and mixes it up as well. So there's a lot asked of these receivers. So anybody that's physical, I think they'll have a role. It's going to be competitive, though. I mean, I don't think they're married to Visca, so he's gonna have to develop a little bit more than that little yak game that he has. He's gonna have to actually just spread his wings a little bit as far as just being a full-fledged actual wide receiver. So I don't think
Yeah,
anybody on that back end is safe, bro.
I
To
don't
be
either.
honest,
I don't
to
either.
be honest.
I think
So
the only ones that are safe, I think Terrace Marshall Jr. is obviously safe. I think Adam Thielen is safe. I think DJ Shark, obviously, those guys are safe, and obviously Mingo is safe. But honestly, everybody after them, man, are on the bubble. Like I literally feel that. And the guy that I'm going to bring out here, man, this is Carolina Panthers Germany, man. My man Wally, all the way Panther fan in Germany, is going to
hey,
come up, man, and he has a good analysis, man, that I want you to hear on this wide receiving core. Also going to bring Big Bro man up here as well to give their opinions, man, and with this conversation, so we can keep it going. But honestly, outside of those four, I don't feel like nobody is safe. And these guys, for whatever reason, keep feeling like Shy Smith is safe. I don't know. I don't know why. What's up with that? Why do everybody feel like Shy Smith is a safe person to make this football team?
Bro, Shy Smith, like practice Shy is one of the best wide receivers on the team. Like training camp last year, I've been training camp past couple years. Shy is like, I mean, because Terrace does the same thing too. That's why everybody was like so pissed off about Terrace because he can make the plays, but Shy in one-on-ones and team drills during camp, this dude can put it together. And obviously, a lot of people from the local area, they see him in college, they know what he could do as well. But this dude in practice, bro, he puts it down in practice, man. So like, it's just unfortunate that he has these drops in the games at times, and he just doesn't always look as quick or dynamic as the player that we know him to be. And I think there's just, I don't know what's missing from Shy, to be honest, but I'm a big Shy guy. I mean, I'm a Gamecock fan as well, but just off of seeing him in
Translation.
practice and stuff like that. So like him moving around, I think he may be able to do a little bit decent in the new system. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. Like I said, it's a lot of these guys they're on the bubble, but I have no doubt that Shy is gonna have another good camp. He does it every year, man.
Yeah, but
So
that's but
it's
Aaron,
just
when
it
is
is what
that
it
going to
is.
not be enough though, man? Like if you because when he had his opportunities in his games, man, he folded, man. And like to me, if you know, heading into a new era for the Panthers, man, like those are the guys that we need to step, especially because you got to remember, you guys are not this regime's selections. They didn't bring you in. So if you're getting those opportunities, man, to make those plays, it's going to be important, especially in a deep wide receiver room like we have. So yeah,
Mhm.
you might show out in training camp. You might listen. You might be training camp MVP, right? But if when we step out there on the field and you get in your chances and you missing catches or you running the wrong route, man, like to me, man, that's what I saw nothing but inconsistency when Shy Smith had his opportunities last year.
Unfortunately, because the quarterback situation as well. You talked about how important the spring is. You saw
Yep.
the difference between the quarterbacks that were there in the spring and the quarterback that wasn't. Baker Mayfield was not there in the spring. A lot of people think that you come to training camp, it's all cool. No, football is hard, bro. They've been practicing since what, March? And if you win the Super Bowl, you're playing until February. So like there's a lot that goes into the chemistry and stuff that's built from there. And I feel like if people don't understand now how important the offseason program is for, because Sam Darnold played better, PJ Walker played better, two guys that were here in the spring. Baker Mayfield struggled. So I think that's a big part as well. And having some consistent quarterback play, I think is going to be beneficial for everybody involved, coaches included.
Yeah, I listen. I'm 100. I 100% agree with that, man. I think that obviously, like you said, the quarterback play. I don't blame it a lot. I mean, listen, I, for Shot Smith, that's not. I don't think the quarter because it was passes that hit him right in the hand, man. He just didn't bring in like yes, we have had some really inconsistent quarterback play, but if Shot Smith is going to make this roster, because I think it's going to come down to him, Demir Bird. You know, they brought in Demir Bird as a free agent as well.
Yeah.
Listen, they both can play special teams. I think that's going to be a battle to look out for. They're really the same player. When you're
That's
talking
a good
about,
point.
yeah, they're the same player. So in my eyes, does I everybody I even heard what you said about Lavisca, right? And Chenault and what he can do. Yeah, Thomas Brown. Somebody said that. Shout out to Courtesy, man, because Courtesy brought up a good point there as well here in the chat. He said that Thomas Brown did speak highly yesterday about having physicality at every single position, right? Chenault gives you that, but also Chenault is very limited in what he can do as a wide receiver. Route running, yes, he did it in college. And Wally, we got Panther Germany up here on the board. We got Big Bro up here in the building as well, man. But listen, Chenault, man, even though in college, he always argues me down about this. He was a route runner in college, but since he's been in the NFL, he's been a gadget player at best. And to me, is that enough to keep him on this roster? We got Wally and see Big Bro in the building. What's up with y'all fellas, man? We on with Aaron today.
Come on now. You need to stop this, man. You need to stop it. Come on now. Chanel can Chanel can run routes. So tell me this: what he's supposed to do? The guys out there, he's supposed to not do what the coaches told him to do.
Okay.
If the coaches say, if the coaches said run this route, and he runs the route the way the coaches want him to run it, they don't have an issue with it. Then he's doing what the coaches ask. But he has proven In college, they can run every route that Debo's running. So I'm saying that's why
Deep.
Jacksonville drafted. Yeah, go ahead.
So Wally, hold up. You comparing Chenault to Debo Samuel?
What I'm saying is Debo, they run the same routes, bro, and they can do the same things. Debo ain't doing nothing great other than what? Yards
Look,
after the catch.
Oh,
Yards
hold
after the
on.
catch. Yards after the
Hold,
catch.
on, Wally. You done got on here already talking that crazy shit, man. I like
Hey, I
literally
got
you done
to.
got on.
Hey, I got to. I got to.
Yeah, I know
Hey,
you do,
I'm sitting
but
here in the backstage listening. I'm like, what the world going on?
you talking about Chenault can do everything that Debo Samuel can do. Big bro, tell him something good, man.
Nah, I get what Wally's saying, man. He said he's not comparing him to Debo. So he's saying he's that type of Swiss Army knife, how the 49ers use Debo Samuel. Like he can develop into that. Chenault can, which and I agree with Wally. I think he can become that Swiss. Will he be as good as Debo? We're not saying that. We don't know. But what we're saying is that we can use him how, line him up in the backfield, how the 49ers use Debo, line him up in the slot, man, line him up. Hell, sometimes I seen a couple plays he was at tight end. So the fact is that's what Wiley's saying with Chenault, and I believe that too, man, because he has that type of ability, right? He's not the per se wide receiver. If you want to put a position on him, he can we can use him in the backfield in the run game. We can line them up, at receiver in the slot, coming out the backfield, man. Hell, even want to hand the ball off to him. So ain't this what you're saying, Wiley, about
Yeah,
Chenault?
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, nobody's saying.
Okay.
And see, Wade tried some stuff. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
He coming in hot. That's pretty good, man.
so
That's pretty good. Go
so
ahead.
Aaron, let me ask you a question, man. Because listen, man, I was hard on LaVisca last season, man. Like I'm not even gonna lie to you, and I was hard on him, man. Listen, this was Steve Wilkes' show. Maybe he only asked him to catch screens and this, that, and the third, man. But the wide receiving room really wasn't great last year outside of DJ Moore. You know what I'm saying? And for me, like LaVisca, when we brought him in, I really expected, man, LaVisca, man, to really, be a staple in that wide receiving core. But man, every touchdown that he scored, man, was off of a screen pass, like a wide receiver screen pass. What are your thoughts, man, on his overall game?
But the thing that you said is when we brought him in. That's the key. When did we bring him in?
We
Did we
brought
bring
him
him
in
in the
late. We
spring?
did. We
Okay,
did.
okay. So how much of a route tree can you develop during the season where most of the time we don't have time to do fundamentals? We're doing fundamentals today, tomorrow, and OTAs.
Yeah.
We don't have time to go back to the basics during the year like that, especially when we're resetting everything and getting rid of the coach during the season. We don't have time to be patting you on the back and spoon feeding you route trees and stuff like that. It would have been nice, but we had other things to worry about. Not to mention we weren't as desperate for playmakers. And we found a way to get him on the field, something simple, a bubble screen. Who can't do that? You know what I'm saying? He's been
Right.
doing that since forever. So I expect him to take a little bit of a step, but I agree. I would think his skill set should be able to bring a lot more than what he does. Granted, he's
Right.
220
Yeah.
something pounds playing wide receiver, which is
Exactly. There you
ridiculous.
go.
But I think that I'm once again we got to lean on these coaches that David Tepper spent the most money on. That a guy like Sean Jefferson, can he get something out of it? Will the system be able to help? There's a lot of crossing routes, a lot of drag routes. If you can't run them type of routes as a wide receiver in the NFL, something's wrong. These aren't complicated routes. You know
They're
what I'm saying?
not.
These aren't routes that are just give me a stick and nod
See,
at
there you
10
go,
and
man.
break me back
There
with
it
an
is.
8. You know what I'm
There
saying?
it
This is
is.
just, you know what I'm saying? This is you got a target on the opposite side of the field. Make sure you
Right.
climb under the Sam over the mic and get on your horse and look for it in this window or that window or catch a drag route and let's go. So there's a lot of different ways and a lot more creativity we have versus, and it is what it is for the guy we had last year calling plays, McAdoo. But there's a reckoning and a reset that's going on now with the full off season. I think the
Yeah.
benefits of that will show in every player, but not just them. I think LaVisca could be able to carve out a role, but like I said, he does need to he does have a lot of places to improve, and every criticism of him is valid. But I think the
Agreed.
timing of when he came in and the expectations were just something that didn't meet from the fans' perspective. And I think all eyes are going to be on him now. Like somebody said in the comments, it's a contract year. So it's really now
Yeah.
or never. You know what I'm saying? Everything is in front of you, and there's opportunity there. There's wide receiver room. There's no alpha dog. So there's a spot to be
The
taken. Like
opportunity
I
is
said, keep
there.
what you
Yeah.
kill. And exactly. So I think a full offseason will help him a lot, and we'll see what they do with him. The little clips they showed him, he look a little bit more shifty coming out them breaks. So in the
Yeah.
offseason social media posts they making. So I hope he can do something, man, make us jump.
Yeah, man. Listen, the Panther social media make anybody look good, man. Like I'm gonna be honest with you. There. Listen, I'm not.
It's
I'm
true.
gonna be guys. I'm not sold on LaVisca Chenault, man. Because even when he was in Jacksonville, man, like he really wasn't great there. Like you get what I'm saying. And that was in the offense at the time that really didn't have no weapons at all. You get what I'm saying? Like he was really just a average type of wide receiver, right? And I respect the points, and I think you made a lot of great points on when we brought him in and getting the full route tree. But man, if you asking me, depending if these guys in front of him can stay healthy, man, I don't know how much of a role because you got to think about it, man. Mingo is a bigger wide receiver than him. He's a faster wide receiver than him, and has the potential to be a lot more explosive than he is. I'm trying to figure out what role, unless he comes out and have a unbelievable training camp where he literally just takes on a role of, like you said, and I didn't see in with the Rams them using a wide receiver in a running back role or like that with Thomas Brown. I didn't see some of that. So to me, I think that he's going to have to earn it as a true wide receiver. So so I'm hoping that, man, that he worked on his route tree. But even I'm saying, like, even when he was in Jacksonville, I didn't see him have a route tree that was expanded. I saw him run the same type of, like, when he did run routes, man, it was easy stuff that he can just get open wheels, plays like that can get him open pretty quick and use his after the catch ability, man, to make plays. So I think, like you said at the beginning, man, I think that he's on a bubble. I really do, man. I think that he's on a bubble.
I think that I mean, his skill set is, I mean, the coach's job is to put guys in positions to succeed. I mean,
Right.
I understand what he's trying to say about Debo, but Debo's not a 50-50 ball wide receiver. They don't throw him jump balls. What do they
Right.
give Debo? They give Debo stuff that he can succeed in. They know what his strength is. They know
Correct.
yards at the catches where he succeeds. So they put him in position. They don't ask him to do stuff that's not his game and that's not
There you
his
go.
lane. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about coaches actually putting these dudes in position to succeed. It's their, I mean, granted, like I said, they didn't do the grocery shopping, so it's a little bit different, but it's more so about making your system fit the players than making players fit your system.
Yes,
Obviously,
sir.
over time, you want to make that gap get a little bit closer once you get your own players. But we didn't spend all this money on these coaches for them to square peg round hole this
Gotcha.
roster. Like, we
Yes,
got to
sir.
make some stuff too. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. I get the point about Debo.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that too, man. Hey, shout out to everybody, man. We are at Midday Madness, man, with special guest Aaron from Unnecessary Bluntness, man. If y'all ain't already subscribed to the channel, man, make sure y'all go and do it. What are you waiting on, man? Y'all see how he been up here making points. He been up here preaching, man, ever since we've been live. So make sure y'all go and support him as well. We got the normal crew up here. Big Bro in the building, CLT in the building, Wiley all the way from Panthers, Germany, man, in the building as well. This is a great conversation, man, here at Midday Madness. CLT just pulled up to the building. CLT, what's your thoughts on LaVisca, man, before we move to the next topic?
Like Wally was saying, man, you can say that Lavisha and Debo are comparable. The only thing is difference is when Debo gets his opportunity to make a player miss and take it to the crib, he does that, and Chenault does not. You know what I'm saying? Chenault's coming out on the screen. He may luck up every 1 or 2 games and take one to the house, but Debo is just that exciting. The first player is going to miss. Their play style is similar, but what you get out of the player is nowhere near the same.
And see, I agree with that. Like, listen, this is what I'm saying. This is why what separates Debo Samuel and LaVisca Chenault. Debo Samuel, man, is more of an aggressive runner than Laviska Shenault is. I think that he's a more of an aggressive runner when he gets the ball into his hands. And honestly, man, I think Debo Samuel might be a little bit bigger than Shenault, if I'm not mistaken, man. Like he may be a little bit bigger, man, from a physicality standpoint. I have to look that up to see how much Shenault weighs and Debo Samuel weighs. And then more than anything, too, man. You know, I also feel that, man, like Debo Samuel. I could trust Debo Samuel being in the backfield, man, being my running back one all game if I needed him to be the running back one, man. He has that type of ability. So when you're talking about a gadget, I think that Debo Samuel is a little bit more of a gadget than Chenault is. I get the comparisons, but I do think that Debo Samuel, man, is a player that I could use a little bit more than Chenault. Like I don't know how Chenault would be lining up in the backfield because I've never seen him line up in the backfield to take any kind of handoffs or anything like that. So
He did
that's
it
where
in
I'm saying.
college, brother. He did it in
Yeah, he did it in
college.
college.
Oh, he
And
did it.
Yeah.
Debo not doing nothing complicated. He's not doing nothing complicated. He taking tosses and running the insides on
Yeah, yeah,
outside
yeah,
and stuff like that.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
but yeah, Visca did it in college, man. He's a lot. Well, not, I guess about 15 because Debo's about what 210, something like that. Visca's almost 230. Almost 230. This
So
dude is
Chenault
big.
is bigger than Debo.
He heavier for
Yeah.
sure.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
He,
I
and he
I would
moves
I
like
didn't.
he's heavier too. That's the thing.
Debo just had that nastiness about him, man. Like he played with like some fucking fire in him, bro.
Yeah, he
Mhm.
got that
his
dog.
his career was earned, bro. Like he came out in the second round, went in San Francisco, made his own name, bro. Like Val said, Laviska has the opportunity. Is he gonna take it? You know what I'm saying? That's what Debo did. He took this opportunity.
Gotcha, man. Gotcha.
Coaching also matters too because you got one of the most brilliant minds in the game calling plays for your boy, but
Yeah,
Visca
Say
that's
that
ain't
true.
again,
really.
Aaron. Say that
He
again,
got
Aaron.
There
one of the
you go.
most brilliant offensive minds, but Visca done been under McAdoo, and then I don't even know who
Yeah.
the coordinator was under Urban Meyer back in Jacksonville. So
Yeah.
McAdoo.
Yeah.
coaching
McAdoo.
matters,
But
bro.
but one on one matters as well. Once you one on one with that linebacker, you one on one with that cornerback, you got to make a man miss.
Yeah, and I get what Aaron is saying about putting in, like, of course that's the coach's job to put every player in position to succeed based off of their skill set, right? That's what a coach is supposed to do. You get what I'm saying? And obviously with this coaching staff, I have no doubt in my mind they're going to be able to do that with Laviska. But what I'm saying is that, man, that room is crowded, right? Like it's crowded. And honestly, if you're asking me, those four, like right now, to me, Chenault is the fifth best wide receiver that we have on our roster, pending these other guys stay healthy and how they incorporate them into
Yeah.
this offense. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say to your point, we're not looking for him to be the number one, number two, or
Nah,
number
not at
three guy.
all.
So, like what Aaron is saying and what Wiley is saying and what I'm saying is that only thing we looking for Chenault to do to come in and be that Swiss Army knife like San Francisco uses Debo. We're not saying he may play up to that caliber, but he can be used. We really don't know yet because due to the McAdoo and down in Jacksonville, we don't know what his potential is yet to see. Like Thomas Brown, again, I'm pretty sure if we see that, he's going to see like, okay, this dude can be used in the backfield, coming out the backfield, may line them up in the slot, wide receiver screens, going across the middle, being that possession receiver. So he will carve out a role, and obviously it's going to be up to him to carve out, what his role in this office will be. But I think that he brings value to the team. I think he can bring value. Again, we're not looking for him to be the best receiver or the to lead us in yards or receptions. That's not what how we're going to use him. We didn't bring him in for that purpose. But I think he does have a purpose on this team if we use him right, and I believe Thomas Brown can do it, man. So to answer your point.
Yeah, I get that, man. Like, listen, I get what everybody is saying. Don't mistake. I get what everybody is saying. What I'm saying is that I think that he is on the bubble. If some of these guys that can outplay him in training camp, like literally outplay him in training camp, he's going to have to earn a spot in this rotation. Is what I'm saying. I don't think that is a guarantee that Chenault will be on this roster going forward. Like I don't like I'm not. I wouldn't be surprised if he did end up on it. Like I really don't, because the other guys behind him are suspect. But to Wiley, what he's always talked about is a Preston Williams, man, and a Shy Smith and all these other guys. But if you asking me, man, like out of any wide receiver that's on the bubble from what they've shown so far up until this point, Chenault has to be on the bubble, man. That's all that I'm saying, man. But uh, I want to shift gears here, man, because I want to get Aaron on this point, man. So, Aaron, last Friday, I was on Sheena Quick's open mic conversation that she has on Twitter last, man, and we had a great conversation that was brought up there, man. Make sure you guys go follow Aaron on Twitter, man. Unnecessary Bluntness on Twitter as well. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter. It's at Wave Podcast as well if you guys haven't done so. And we were talking about what is the weakest room on the Carolina Panthers roster right now. So before I say mine, I want to ask you just in case because you may know what how I feel about this, but before I say mines and get these other boys, what do you feel as of today, heading into OTAs, is the weakest room on our roster right now?
Uh, I probably have to say it's a tough one. It will be between. It's probably a wide receiver, to be honest. this is it's that's just my vantage point. I know a lot of people, and I think a lot of people's skepticism of other positions on this team just comes from them just not liking the player in general versus just actually seeing who the player is and what type of role they play and what realistic expectations are for them. I know people feel bad about the corners. I know people hate our linebackers for some reason. And I know people hate our edge room for some reason. I just feel like wide receiver is the one position where we don't have one guy that we know bona fide for a fact that is going to do something for us. Linebacker, Shaq, regardless of how people fans feel about him, Shaq is a starting caliber, above average linebacker in the NFL. Frankie Luvu is one of the most underrated linebackers in the NFL. As a combination, I'm fine with both of them. Corner, JC Horn is a top-notch corner when healthy. I know people want to talk about the injuries and just assuming injuries. That's fine. But wide receiver, we don't have any like just bona fide dogs that have proven anything at this point. So that's my concern about wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? That's why I would put that up there. But I know y'all probably have different opinions. I know everybody leaning more towards defense as far as like what's weak and what's strong and stuff like that. But I would probably say
Yeah.
wide receiver.
So listen, I respect that, right? I am surprised that you said wide receiver room, but I will respect that because to your point, we don't have a bona fide number one wide receiver, right? We don't have that on the roster, like at least not yet. We got a bunch of guys that can step into their role, but nobody has earned it up until this point, right? But to me, man, I got to go to that secondary, man, in that cornerback room, and here's why, right? JC Horn, obviously, when healthy, it can be the best corner in the league, not just for the Panthers, but he has the ceiling to be the best cornerback in the NFL. That is JC Horn's ceiling. And honestly, for the first couple of weeks of the season, he was that, right? Last year,
Mhm.
he was that, right? So we know what we have in him. We know what we invested to get him, but this is his third year in the league, and he has not played a full season, right? And that's something that we have to say that. And again, I'm not wishing injuries on him this year. I'm not saying that he's going to get hurt this year. But if he does miss time this season for any reason, God forbid, we have to start worrying about that, right? Like we literally have to start saying to ourselves, okay, we drafted this guy with the number 8 overall pick. This is somebody that we expected. We all know that. I know somebody even got on me about this on Sheena Quick Show, man, about the old cliche, availability is the best ability. Listen, as cliche as it sounds, it's the truth. If you're not on the field, we can argue. We can even argue that him being hurt for that Tampa Bay game, man, when we played them, when we were going to get into the playoffs last year, not being there ultimately impacted us winning or losing that game. If you recall, we were up in that game, but for whatever reason, we just could not stop Mike Evans and Tom Brady, man, on the routes, and they just annihilated us. Can't tell me that if J.C. Horn wasn't there, they would have made somewhat of a difference, right? Then behind him with Dante Jackson, okay, Dante Jackson is also a person who's dealt with injuries as of late. Even with full healthy Dante Jackson, he's a serviceable second corner at best. But against strong route running wide receivers, he struggles. You know what I'm saying? He relies a lot on his speed and athleticism to try to cover. And in today's NFL, with as good as wide receivers that we have in the NFC South alone, you have to be able to, have the technique to run with these guys. Size is a disadvantage for him as well. So in my eyes, he's serviceable, but he's not a great number 2 option even when healthy if he plays. Okay, and coming off of what, an Achilles tear, I think that's what he's coming off of, an Achilles
Yep.
tear. We don't even know if some of that speed or his technique is going to be impacted, man, because an Achilles tear is a serious injury. A lot of players, man, coming off of those, they lose a step or two when they come back. So we'll see for him and how he can turn it on. But behind those two guys, there's a bunch of question marks, man. Like they're honestly, we brought some guys in. We talked a lot of bit about this, man, on an earlier show for the past couple of weeks. We talked about Rajon Wright, man, the undrafted free agent who could potentially make this team. We've talked about Jamie Robinson and him locking down a nickel position. If he can do that, we know that he played a ton of that in college. And obviously we got Keith Taylor but none of these guys behind these first two are for sure, guys that can step in and they might not be. Listen, your number three corners don't need to give you the production of your ones and twos, but they need to be able to. If one of those guys come down, they can come in and handle the job at least for us to be able to win the games. I don't see that on the roster right now behind the ones and twos, and there's question marks with the ones and twos because of their injury history. So as an owner, man, and as a GM, and I'm looking at this team, if you're asking me right now on paper, what's the weakest room? To me, it has to be corner. And I'm going to let these fellas tell you what their areas are and what they think about our first two rooms. Whoever want to go.
But yeah, I'll start it off. Yeah, I would agree, man. Cornerback, I would have to say is our weakest room at this time. I know for sure we got 3 solid corners, and again, I'm gonna say solid. Dante Jackson, J.C. Horn.
I forgot about C.J. Henderson.
And C.J. Henderson
for
is
good
the
reason.
third. Again, C.J. is a good. I mean, he's I'm gonna say a decent number 3 corner. In this league. He's not a starter, but he can come in and play that third cornerback role, and we could be okay. Obviously, could we do better than him? Absolutely. But anything outside those top 3, man, those other guys on the roster, obviously are improving. We did address the issue in the draft and bringing some undrafted free agents in. That can eventually develop. Again, me myself, I've been hollering since day one. I think undrafted free agent, Rajon Wright, man, gonna come in and solidify a role for us, man. Again, in this defense. Again, he may not be a first year player, it might get playing time, but he has that potential. And also the guy we drafted, Jamie Robinson, out of South Carolina, man. He's gonna come in, man, and help in that backfield, and develop, and contribute, again. But definitely we got 3 solid corners that I feel, okay with going into the season with. Dante Jackson, Horn, and CJ Henderson, man. Anything outside of that, after them 3, man, everything is unproven, man. So that's what I think is our weakest room, cornerbacks.
All right, so we got 2 for corner. CLT Wally, go ahead, man. Y'all go ahead and give us y'all perspective.
So I want to say I agree with Panthers Uncensored in regards to our receiver core. Is no bona fide number 1, right? All guys have showed promise, glitz and glamours, flashes here, flashes there. In your regards to the cornerback room, I see what you're saying as well. I would have to say I would agree with Big Bro in regards we have 3 competent corners. CJ is not the best, but he can play number 3 for sure. Play that slot. My weakest room, I would probably say, is DN. Just simply off the fact that Brian Burns is strictly, in my opinion, a pass rusher. When you run the ball at him, he's absent. And then on the other side is
okay.
And then on the other side is who the fuck is there. So so I would have to say DN. You gotta get somebody on the other side. Brian Burns has to adapt some run stop abilities. He coming off an injury as well, like you said, a surgery. So I feel like that room was questionable.
Yeah, that surgery for Brian Burns was random too. I know it was a cleanup surgery, but that was completely random for that surgery when it came out. Aaron, I don't know that I wasn't expecting to hear anything like that for him. They say he's going to be ready to go. What they say for week 1 of training camp.
Yeah, it had me a little uneasy too, just because of the questions. And I think we'll address the room before the season starts. A lot of these people that are out there, these vets, they don't want to go through this off-season program stuff. You know what I'm saying? They on that Brett Favre time where they just holler at me for training camp and we good there type of energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We didn't make that move like we were supposed to last year for Dunlap, but Dunlap didn't sign with the Chiefs until like right before camp.
Right.
And
Yep.
bro ended up getting the ring. Now you could, as a vet DN, that could not be the more ideal situation being in your 30s, because we still got Melvin Ingram's out there, Leonard Floyd's out there. I've heard his asking price is a little bit too high, you know what I'm saying? But there's still guys out there,
Yeah,
that can get
Jadeveon
you.
Clowney is an interesting candidate.
Yeah, Clowney there too. I mean, so you got guys that can get you some sack production, that has experience in the 3-4 whatever scheme we're going to be running. So I'm not really overly concerned about that, but I I just wide receiver, I just don't. We're banking, like I said, we're banking on upside. I ran through that laundry list a little bit earlier, but it's not so much of having a bona fide number one. It's like I know we can have that by committee approach and you can scheme guys open, but I just don't feel like we have anybody that got that juice, man. Like, who has the juice?
That real dog,
yeah. We talked about Visca, but who else is going to turn something small into a big play?
15
Who's
yards,
who's taking a check down to the crib? Who's taking a little drag route to the crib where we're getting free yards for Bryce? Everything don't have to be methodical on offense, man. And then that's how you end up getting to the red zone. And if you don't execute in the red zone, you're kicking field goals. And field goals get you beat. So I'm a little bit worried about the dynamic ability of our wide receiving core and our offense in general. So that's why I think that wide receiver room is so weak, in my opinion. Corner, I'm not as bad on them just because of what y'all said. But the Bucs game was literally the worst case scenario. Like, if you're down to quarterback 3 and 4 as your starting corners, you're pulling Josh Norman off the streets.
Right.
You're in desperate times. And ideally, you're never in desperate times that often. And if anybody else is in J.C. Horn position, they would have got hurt. I don't want to call him injury prone because, like, if anybody's helmet is running to anybody's wrist, it's going to break. It just happened to him be the guy there. So I'm not even going to fault him for that type of injury, in my opinion. But
it was, listen, they've been freak accidents. Like I want to, like, they've been freak accidents, man. But they've been injuries nevertheless, right? Like I know that it was a freak. Like, even with the foot, man, it was a non-contact injury. His foot just exploded when he took 2 steps back, and the wrist injury. Like I get that as well, man. But like, for him to be a top, it's just like when you a top 10 pick, and again, I know draft picks don't have anything to do with injuries. Injuries can affect everybody, but it's the investment and the return on investment that I'm talking about when you draft a guy that high. Like, literally, like, I need for J.C. Horn, man, to play a full season this year. It's going to be important for what we're trying to do. Like you said, the NFC South is up for grabs right now. We need everybody on the field this year. Like, we need everybody because, again, the NFC South couldn't be more vulnerable than it is right now. You have teams that are actually getting better, like the Atlanta Falcons, who they're a couple pieces away, depending on their quarterback play. They're a couple of pieces away, man, of really being a real threat to the NFC South with the moves that they continue to make and how they're growing on the defense and the offensive side of the ball and young players that they're bringing in. So I think that this year is a year that we need to grasp the hold of the NFC South and grab it by the neck and take control of this division. And I'm not saying that it's a Super Bowl or bust year for Carolina, but when you're talking about really making our presence feel in the NFC South, I know the Saints are out there, and arguably they have the best quarterback play just off of experience because of Derek Carr, and he's an above average quarterback. And, their defense is still solid. They still have some solid pieces in an emerging Chris Olave. And if Michael Thomas could ever get back to form, Alvin Kamara will probably be suspended by some games, but they bought in Jamal Williams. Listen, they still, have a solid team, but I'm just not a believer in their coach, Dennis Allen, right? I'm not a believer in their coach. So, because they can have all the talent in the world, but I don't believe in him to get that team's maximum potential out. So,
agreed.
I'm just saying, from that perspective, the Carolina Panthers, we need to try to have a relatively healthy season, man, especially from our star players. And again, injuries are going to happen, but I really need for J.C. Horn specifically, man, to to at least, man, give us 18 games, man. It just needs to be done this year. That's where I'm
Playing that
from.
many games is a tall task, though, bro. Like,
It is, but it is.
the draft position. And I feel you on the investment in the draft position, but like, the draft is such a crapshoot, bro. Like, look at what happened this year. People was ready to run Derek Brown out of the city.
I was one of them. I ain't even go
But
cap.
there's only
I ain't even go cap.
only 7 first-round draft picks got their 5th-year option. 5th-year option is the number one telltale of if the team feels like you're a draft bust or not. You know what I'm
Gotcha.
saying? And Derek Brown is one of the only people in his draft class to get his 5th-year option guaranteed. So I understand that because of where we drafted guys, people have these expectations, but like I
Yeah.
don't want to fall into the trap like we did with CMC. People just beat up on CMC so much because of the knick-knack injuries. I feel like we sat him down a lot of times because there was literally nothing to play for, and we knew his mileage on him was high. So
Gotcha.
people saying he's missed X amount of games in this many years. Okay, cool. This man went to a contender.
You're right.
Clean,
Played
same
healthy.
injuries that were nagging. He played through a lot of them and ended up being the best player on that offense. On an
Gotcha.
offense that
Yep.
was
You're
already
right.
solid. So I don't want
That's
to fall into this
facts.
trap of
That's
getting mad at our
facts.
players for not playing when if they're just like, okay, if they're like Dante, now Dante 100%. Like these are because when, like you said, when he's healthy, he's even whatever. But
Right.
like some of these guys
Right.
that when they're healthy, they're dogs, and we know what they're gonna bring to us. I don't want to fall into the trap of being too low on them type of guys. But like you said, Dante, that's a different story because the toe, the groin, the hamstring, the
Right. It's been
Achilles,
everything.
it's nothing upper body. It's all lower body. And when your game is predicated on speed, yes, those are legit question marks there. But like, I'm not gonna blame JC unless it's like, I mean, yes, obviously there's a point, but like you said, a lot of the stuff is freak stuff, and it could happen to anybody at any point. So it's
Yeah.
unfortunate that it happens to the same people, but sometimes trouble just finds, and it is what it is. So I just don't want to fall into this
Yeah.
person,
That
and next thing you know, he's all world.
that's a hell of a point, man. That's a hell of a point. Wally, man. Wally, I want to get your take on it too. Panthers Germany. What is
Uh,
your weakest room for the Carolina Panthers right now?
I'm gonna say it's not the backfield. I'm not. I'm putting corners and safeties together for simple reason. Rowe plays corner and safety, and he played 2 years in with the Patriots as a starting corner, and then he played some corner when he was at Miami. So even if one of the guys go down, we got backup. Plus, I think we're gonna play more safeties uh, at a point because we're gonna play Robinson maybe in the slot. You can play Rowe as a corner, and then if the guys go down, you got a decent enough backfield to alleviate that piece regarding the cornerbacks. Now, I think the weakest backfield is going to be the backfield itself, the running backs. Yeah, we got Miles Sanders, but Chuba, do we really believe in Chuba? I don't know. And then after Chuba, who do we have? Blackshear.
Yeah.
And so I think from a depth perspective, unless we believe directly in Chuba, I think the weakest part of the roster is going to be running back. Uh, Simply because we got two unproven guys. That'll be Spencer Brown and that'll be Cam Peebles. Unless we're going to bring a veteran in to spell those guys, I think that's the weakest one.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. So the running back room too, man. We lost. Okay, there go Aaron. Aaron coming back up now. I think he has some connection issues. We're bringing him back up here in a second. Um, let's go ahead and get him back up here. But to your point, though, Wally, I mean, listen, I think the running back room definitely needs, some maybe one more body. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, really, maybe one more body, man, in there for competition, man, and to go out there and compete with these guys. Because, like I said, man, Chuba Hubbard, to me, Chuba Hubbard right now, man, is uh he hasn't taken that next step to me. Like, he really hasn't taken that next step for what we need him to be. Like here in Carolina, like he showed some flashes last year. When given the opportunity, but I don't think that this offense that we're gonna see this year is going to give him them kind of opportunities that he had last year. Like we was predicated on running the ball last season. Like that's just what Steve Wilkes did. That's just what our philosophy was. I think that we are probably going to be a more of a like we will run the ball. Obviously, I'm not saying that we're not going to run the ball, but I think it's going to be a well balanced offense this year. And I'm not sure how many opportunities that Chuba Hubbard is really going to get in this new offense. You know what I'm saying? I really don't. I think that we're missing, like you said. I know somebody brought up Cameron Peoples. He's a big back, but I think honestly, man, we should probably think about seeing one of these veteran big backs, man, short yardage at the goal line type guys to see if we should be bringing in one of them, man, to spell Miles Sanders. Because you got to remember one thing about Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders had 1,600 yards on the Super Bowl team last year, but he was in the three-back committee. A three-back committee, man, with Gainwell and Boston Scott. Yes, he had 1,200 yards rushing, but he also was in a committee type running back. So who's to say, man, that he will have that same kind of production in the every down roll running back type of position with Carolina? I know we paid him the money to be something like that, but I still think that we need to have a little bit more rotation at the running back position. And one of these veteran guys, I know names like Leonard Fournette are out there, Ezekiel Elliott, other guys, names that are still sitting out there as well. But I think that, man, we should bring in a veteran running back, to compete with Chuba Hubbard, Spencer Brown, Blackshear. Even though I like those guys' games a little bit, but I'm just talking about a veteran presence, man, to really balance out this running back room, man. How you feel about that running back position, Aaron?
I'm as skeptical as you. I mean, before, I guess we talked about a little bit earlier about Miles. Like, there's something to be said about you running behind the best offensive line in the league, like hands down.
Exactly. Yep.
I actually got a video coming out soon. I'm breaking down film on everybody that's at it, but Miles Sanders led the league in yards before contact, meaning that the offensive line is getting a hell of a push for you. And there's yards after contact, but then there's yards before contact. I always judge running backs on what they do after the contact, because that's the yards that you have to create for yourself. All the yards before contact is the contact that the offensive line gets for you. And in my opinion, if you make it to the NFL, if you have an elite offensive line, you're not a good running back if you can't do numbers. That's just how I feel. Right? We have a good offensive line myself, but there's a little bit different when you don't have a quarterback that the defense has to worry about. Okay, hey, am I going to pull the ball and run the back door with Jalen Hurts?
Gotcha. Yep.
And then Jalen Hurts, I'm the short yardage back a lot of the times because I'm lining up on the center and everybody and their mama is pushing me to get this extra yard. So there's a lot of responsibilities that he's not going to have. I mean, that he's going to have in Carolina that he didn't have in Philly. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, he was part of a committee. And I think, he's that committee type of guy anyway, because even though they had Jonathan Taylor, they still had Nyheim Hines. They still had, I can't remember the other guy's name. It's slipping my mind right now. I know Marlon Mack over the years, he played for them as well. But they do a little bit of committee too. But I definitely think they're going to use Miles there. But I'm a little bit skeptical of Miles. I've never been a huge Miles Sanders guy, but I do have confidence in the offensive line, 1 and 2, in Deuce Staley. And 3, I think our scheme, I think there's some meat on the bones to be there as far as the type of things that we could do from the scheme, because most of his runs came out of shotgun too. And I think we'll do a lot of shotgun, but I don't think it'll be 100% shotgun. So it's some question marks with Miles as well. I'm good. I'm cool with Chuba. He's improved. I think a lot of what he has better at was balance, catching the football, which is still a work in progress. Yeah. But he needed to just kind of get in the weight room and add some size and run behind his pads a little bit more. And he showed that this year. You know what I'm saying? He went a lot more no nonsense type of running this year. I like that. I still think there's a little bit another step he can take to be a better back. He'll never be the man, but I think he's a good change of pace. But I agree. I think that I thought we should have went to the draft. There was so many running backs in this draft class.
It was.
I thought maybe a speed guy or a guy that could catch the ball in the backfield. Like I said, that guy that can take a check down to the crib. That's why I was open. Like, hey, if Jahmyr Gibbs had fell to the second, I would have been open to that, to be honest, just because that's somebody that can get easy yards. But we don't really have that type of guy on the team right now, on offense in general. But running back is definitely up there for me as far as a question mark position.
So what I'm getting, Aaron, man, and from you, man, you're not as sold on this offense, man, as most Panther fans are right now with the additions that we have. It's from talking about the wide receiving core right now. Where would you say, man? What are your realistic? And we want to go ahead and get this, man, because we're coming down here to the end, and I want to get into this conversation as well. What are your realistic expectations for the Carolina Panthers offense? And then also, man, as of right now, I know it's early. I want to get your early season predictions. We know the schedule is out right now. So that's been released. And again, it's still kind of early to be making predictions, because obviously we have to see how training camp goes, who's hurt, who's not hurt, so on and so forth. And right before the preseason, we'll throw our final ones out there. But what are your realistic expectations for the Panthers offense this season, man, under Thomas Brown and this new regime?
I, I don't have a specific number, but I do expect a lot better complementary football. And I think that's really all we need. I know people want to beat up on our defense, the lack of pass rush. They didn't do this, that, and the third, but dog, we didn't have a heavy lifting type of defense last year. They were definitely capable. There are plenty of teams that probably would have took our defense last year because it was good enough if you could put a capable offense, you know what I'm saying, on the opposite side. But when your offense is only averaging 21 points a game, you can't do much. You know what I'm saying? We saw Avero and the Broncos last year. Their defense did a lot of the heavy lifting earlier in the year, but after the while, it's only so much you can do because all of the rules are slanted towards whatever. But I do expect a lot more of a complementary offense. I expect us to be efficient, and I think that's all we need to do. Move the chains. Hopefully, let the processing and the creativity of our offensive coordinators and coaches take over in the red zone. We can put up some points. Hopefully, Eddie is dependable. But I definitely just want to see improvement. And I think that's really all that we need as long as our defense either stays the same or even takes a little bit of a step forward in terms of production and just health in general. I don't think, like I said, I don't think it's going to take much. It's just we never really play complementary football because our offense has been so bad for so long, dog, that it just skews everybody's view of everything defensively. So I just think they need to be complimentary, man. Like, don't put them in backed up situations. Don't turn the ball over, put them in short fields. Eat some clock up so they're not on the field all day. Give them a chance to be able to take a breath, chill. You know what I'm saying? Not have to do all the heavy lifting every game. 21 points a game is just not going to do it in NFL, man. We got to get up to at least the mid 20s, I think. I think 24, 25 range, if we're on the above average line of scoring, like maybe in that 12, 13 range at points per
Gotcha.
game, I think that's realistic, and I think that's really all we'll need to have a successful season. That being said, if that happens, I could definitely see 9-8. You know what I'm saying? I think 9-8 is probably as realistic spot. I think anywhere from 7 to 10 wins is where we're going to be. I know it's a big range, but just looking at some of the teams that we have and on paper how they look and just the timing, I think that we have a very, very favorable schedule as far as like road games being indoors or in warm weather.
Yep.
I think that there's, like I said, we have the division opponents, of course, but outside of that, man, I think, like I said, anywhere between 7 to 10 wins, I would probably lean more towards 9, but 7.5 is what Vegas has us at right now. I think that 8 and 9, 9-8 is probably where it's at. Would that be enough to win the South? We'll see. But I think that's realistic. And I think if we go 9-8, to me, with a rookie quarterback starting the majority of the season, that's a win, in my opinion. But I think it'll be a little bit of a disappointment for some people just because of where the division is at as a whole, because everybody thinks it's down. But I think 9-8 with a rookie quarterback would be beautiful. Anything above that is just getting greedy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the nail, man. For those same reasons. So yeah, I predicted Carolina to be 9-8, 10-7 at the max. Those were my predictions, man, when the schedule release dropped. And it's for the same reasons. Listen, that Corbett injury and him not being ready for the first couple of games of the season is
Yeah.
going to be a bigger impact than people think. You got
Yeah.
to remember the best part of our lines was our interior last season. It really was. Yes, Iquanu, he came on throughout the year, and he made a lot of good strides. And Taylor Moton is going to be Taylor Moton, but the interior was really the strength of that offensive line, man. And with Corbett possibly missing, I'm just going to say probably the first 4 games of the season. Um, yes, we drafted Savala, but again, he's a rookie. He's going to have to come in and really, show what he can do. Yes, he has chemistry with Iguanu, so they'll be playing on the same side. But what I think, man, is that Panther fans have to be very realistic about this season. Is that everything is new, right? Like it's a new coach, it's a new scheme, it's a rookie quarterback. Yes, do I think Bryce Young was the best quarterback in this draft? I do. But just because of that reason doesn't mean that we're going to just go from being great to, I mean, being 8 and, 10 team to going to being 10 and 17. Do I think on paper this roster is better than it was a year ago? Absolutely. Well, without a doubt. I think that this roster is better on paper. Do I think that we got the coaching staff to put everybody in position for us to be successful? Absolutely. But it's going to take time for all of that to gel, right? Like it's going to take time. I don't think that it's going to be Like we're going to see flashes of what this team is going to be. I do think that this team will be a legit Super Bowl contender here over the next couple of seasons. I 100% believe that because of the youth that we have here. And honestly, right now we have one of the younger rosters in the league right now. Like we really do. So for that reason is that you're going to have your franchise quarterback on a rookie deal. You're going to have a lot of, your star players. If Mingo can turn into the guy that I think that he can be, which I think that he will turn into the guy that he's going to be on a rookie deal. You have a lot of youth here. You have your left tackle on a rookie deal. All of the key positions for the Panthers right now are on rookie deals, and that's really just what you want, man, for a Super Bowl run. But I had us going, man, 9-8. That's the realistic. I'm going to stay true to that. I think that we will surprise people with some wins this next year. I think one of the wins that I have us upsetting, man, that we could potentially upset, man, is that Dallas game in Carolina. And for everybody, man, we are going to try to get I think that's going to be an upset game because, it is going to be close. And again, obviously Dallas should win this game. I picked the Panthers to lose that game, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do upset them here just because the whole, it being the whole Dallas versus Panther rivalry and everything that's going to be going on. So, but my expectations for this offense, man, is just to be better than what it was last year. If it can be that, to me, that's a plus, right? I'm not expecting us to come out, man, and Bryce Stowe for 4,000 or 5,000 yards in his rookie year and 40 touchdowns and just the 10 interceptions. Do I think that he's capable of doing that? We'll see, man. But everything right now, man, we just have to see it, man, when it gets on the field. I think that we've done the right moves, the necessary moves that we've needed to do to get above the hump that we were last year. But listen, if we got 8 wins with what we had on the field last season, and against, to me, a tougher schedule last year, I don't see any reason why we won't be above at least a game or two above that this year. So that's my overall analysis of where the Panthers should be this year. It's 9-8. I think that's a safe place to put the Panthers. We'll get these fellas, man, opinions on that, man, and then we'll close it down, man. So go ahead, Wally.
Hey, man, I think the floor is 10-7, and I think we need to have at least between offense between say 10 and 12th in the league, and I think our defense is going to be around 5 or 6. With that gets us to 10-7 based on the schedule we have. The Dallas game, I think that's a W for the simple reason, and I don't think they remember it. When Dom was there as our coach, Dallas totally disrespected us when we beat them in the playoffs. We beat them in the '96 playoffs. And what did Jerry Jones say? Jerry Jones said that he didn't even know Charlotte had a team, and Don was the coach. And we put Michael Irvin left on the stretcher, Deion left on the stretcher, and also Emmett left on the stretcher. So I'm saying that was going to be Dom's game to blitz the hell out of the Cowboys, and we're going to get that game, and that's going to get us to 10-7.
All right, Wally got us at 10-7, and he made some good points. And how you feel about that one?
To me?
Yeah. How you feel about what he said?
Cowboys, if we beat the Cowboys, bro, you're going to see a different side of your boy. I'm just going to say it right now.
Fact. That's right.
Man, you're going to see a different side of your boy. Now, 10-7 for real, like you said,
that's the ceiling for me.
That's my ceiling as well. And I think with the metric, just the rankings that he had us at offensively, I think 12 and 13 is a good spot for us to be at. And I think that gives the defense a lot more room for error. Now, if they're in that 5 or 6, like you're saying, we're going 10-7 at least, if they're in that range. I don't see them being that elite just because of the lack of pass rush, but I think you can go at it tactically a different way. But like I said, if we hit the metrics where he's at, I think 10-7 is very realistic. I just don't see I see the defense being on that 10. I think I see it being a little bit more balanced, like offense being in that 10, 12, 13 range, defense being the same. And I think that type of complementary and balance will be enough for us to do something decent. But if we beat Dallas, like I said, you're going to see a different side of your boy. Just FYI. Don't be ignorant in that thing. You know what I'm saying? So, because I hate the Cowboys.
I'm going to be honest with you, man. The Panthers defense finished 19th last season. So to jump up to 10, man, that's a big jump. And with obviously, our defense has been solid. You know what I'm saying, over the last couple of years, even when the offense has been dreadful, they've been good enough to keep us in every game, right? At least there was only about 2 games last year that we just got blown out in, but every other game we were pretty much in the game. If we would have got more from the offense, we should have been able to win, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to put the Panthers defense this upcoming season, man, somewhere, man, in that 10 to 15 range, right? I think that it's going to be an improved unit, but I don't think it's going to be the improved unit to jump us into a top 10 defense quite yet, right? And that's just because there's still obviously some more pieces and answers that got to be done. And then transition from a 4-3 to a 3-4, man, we got to see how that, translate on the field as well. So I'm gonna give it that 10 to 15 range, 10 being the ceiling. If they were to go anything above 10, this has been Ejiro deserves a head coaching job next year, right? Like hands down, if we go to a top 10 defense, like literally this year. Um, but Wally, to your point, like you said about that Dallas game, if any game I feel the Panthers on a schedule that I would say that is an upset that we can upset a team that we shouldn't beat, that would be the one that I would say that I would get it, man. Big bro, go ahead, man. Give us your thoughts on this overall offense and your realistic expectations for the Panthers, man, this year.
Overall, man, I like the offense. I like where it's going. I like the potential that it has. To grow, and I can't wait to see this offense grow, man, to ultimately what it's going to be. So I'm satisfied with the offense. I mean, can we add some pieces? Another running back, a bigger back? Yeah, we can. With the injury with Corbett, could we upgrade there or bring in another piece? Absolutely. But overall, man, I like the offense. I like the direction it's going. I think Thomas Brown, man, is going to come in and do what he needs to do and put us in the best position to win and go out and execute every week. And I agree with my man Aaron saying, we got to be able to score in that, mid to upper 20s range, man, each week, to have a chance to win, right? I mean, that's the way the NFL is going. You got to be able to put points up. Offense can't be stagnant, have those quick 3-and-outs. And I think under this regime, we've seen a lot of that under Matt Rule that occurred. But I think under this regime, we're not going to have those quick, turnarounds on offense. We're going to control the clock, and run some clock and put pressure on the defense. So as far as win-loss expectations, man, I'm right in there, with y'all that 9 to 10 win range. I could kind of see us at this year. Realistically, I think anywhere between 9 and 10 wins is what I'm going with, man. And I do think we will beat the Cowboys, but that's realistic. I mean, I'll just be honest, man. I think it's at home. It's gonna be a lot of energy, in the BOA, man, and we owe the Cowboys, man. We owe them. We owe them a butt whooping. So I'm gonna be, actually, what's funny, I tell you, I just told my wife, she asked what I wanted for birthday, man. She gave me tickets to those games, so I'll be in the building.
Yeah,
on
y'all
November
will.
19th, man. So, I'm getting tickets to that game. But so I got that one circled. I can't wait for that one. But nah, man, 9 to 10 wins. I think that's really a good, place that for us to fall this year. Again, we are young. You brought that comment up. We are one of the younger teams in the league. So obviously these guys gotta develop, and a lot of these guys gotta gel together. I'm not looking for perfection and having a top 10 offense or defense. And now if that happens, I mean, obviously I'll take it. But I can say defense wise, I'm gonna say, we should fall in that top 15 range. I'm gonna give us that defense wise. Anywhere between 1 and 15, I think it's a good solid year. Anything greater than that is obviously
That's a
fantastic.
hell of a year.
Yeah. Anything better than top,
Because to go from 19 to like top 10, that's a humongous jump in one
nah,
season,
right.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
that's a huge jump.
And it is, man. So but that'll be great if we do. And the same with the offense, man. We're still developing. Again, we're not going to go from last to first in 1 year. As far as going straight to win the Super Bowl this year. But I think if we're starting to put together the pieces and getting everything in order for, we can eventually get to that in the next 3 to 4 years. That we can be a contender. Like I'm talking about contending in the Super Bowl. So that's why I got us, man. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait.
Yeah, man, I like that, man. I like that. CLT, man, you last up, bro. What are your realistic expectations? Where do you have the rankings for offense and defense of the ball before we close it out?
Um, Realistically, I'm still going with 9-8. I don't see us. I would like us to beat Dallas. Charlotte has a lot of Dallas fans, and they talk a lot of shit. So I would want us to beat them for sure. But I, I think we'll go 9-8. I think we'll lose to Dallas. I think our defense will fall somewhere within that 12 to 10 range. I think we take a big jump, honestly. I think offense gets a whole lot better. I think offense
Man, the
get a whole lot
daycare over
better.
there loud, man.
Yeah, I know. My bad,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, you good, you
Uh,
good.
yeah, but I think the offense get a whole lot better. I think the defense takes strides as well, but I just don't. I think the problem with Dallas is it's going to be Michael Parsons, bro. I think the name of the game is going to be Michael Parsons against Dallas.
Yeah.
Um, so I
He did
think,
cause problems the last time we played him. Now, granted, that was against
yeah,
Sam Darnold. But
yeah,
yeah, Michael Parsons is definitely a dominant force, man. So
yeah.
I'm
I
with
have him win the defensive player of the year this year. I think Michael's going to win it.
you. Hey,
Um,
it's
but
not a bad
if
choice.
Yeah, if our offensive line improves, now what I will say I'm not scared of Dallas's weapons no more. I don't think they have the elite weapons to just blow us out on the offensive side of the ball. I just feel like that defense is strong. And you still have Tony Pollard that can take one to the crib. And
Yeah, he coming off a major injury though.
yeah, yeah, and that's true. That's a great point. I
They
didn't think
don't
about
have
that,
Zeke
but
anymore. They only have really one wide receiver. They don't have Dalton Schultz anymore. Yeah, I
That's
mean
what
it's
I don't scare that offense anymore. It's just that defense.
gotcha.
We just gotta hold up on offense compared to that defense. Put up some points on the board. But like you said, our coaching staff on paper says that we should be a lot better on both sides of the ball than we were last year. So leaning on that, we can go 9-8. I think our ceiling is 10 games.
10 games. Facts, man. Well, listen. Hey man, listen, I appreciate everybody, man. They intake and I think we had a great conversation today, man. Want to give a special thank you, man, for Aaron popping up on the channel, man. Go give him a round of applause for coming up here, man, taking the time out to pop up here on this midday madness, man. Hopefully he'll get your boy over there, man, on the channel onto the into the big world of Panther YouTubing, man. So, hopefully I can come over there and chop it up with him one of these days. But
For
listen,
sure.
man, hey, thank you for pulling up to the channel, bro. It mean everything to us. To everybody else, man, listen. Tomorrow we are live again, Midday Madness. Waves Meets continues. We'll be live with Phil from Panthers Post at 12 p.m. Eastern, man. So make sure that you guys pull up for that. Don't want to miss another great conversation. Y'all make sure to go, man. Subscribe to Unnecessary Bluntness, man, here on YouTube as well. Aaron over there in his channel. If you haven't done so already, go follow us on Twitter. I'm at Waves Podcast. And yours is Unnecessary Bluntness on Twitter, right?
Twitter is Dunk on Demand.
Dunk on
On
Demand.
YouTube,
Okay.
you can find me at UB Sports Talk if you don't want to spell out unnecessary. But UB Sports Talk, UBS PORTSTALK. I gotta spell that right.
Yes, sir.
But,
Y'all make sure
yeah.
to go run him up right now. Any final words, man, that you want to get in, Dunk?
Nah, man, I just appreciate you having me, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man, in these creative streets. I know it's tough doing it, man, but consistency is everything. Just stay at it. I've been doing this since 2017, bro. So it's a long journey, but just gotta have fun with it. Be consistent, man. And stuff tends to work itself out when you put it to work in and put in good work, and then just stay consistent, man. That's really all it is. It sounds complicated, but it's not. You just gotta stay at it, man. Just have fun with it. We in a good time, so it's a good time to be a Panthers fan. Good time to be a Panthers creator. So there's a lot of exciting things to talk about anyway. So, man, appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Definitely appreciate it. You coming on and joining on the channel. So again, guys, we're live again tomorrow. Also, the Discord link will be dropping tomorrow exclusively in the community section of the channel. Discord is going to be out there as well, man. Life is Just a Wave podcast. Another episode of Midday Madness. Big Bro Wally. Appreciate y'all for pulling up to the channel, man. Listen, until tomorrow, everybody. This has been your boy Big Waves. Life is Just a Wave, baby. We'll catch y'all next time, man. Everybody be easy.
Peace.